Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. If you're just tuning in, we were covering some topics on some income strategies with the markets, whether the market's going up, whether it's going down, but having the right plan for the right market condition. So if the market's going up, obviously that's buying. If the market's going down, there's shorting opportunities for income strategies, but also having the right asset. We got into a little bit about the futures market, the Forex market. These markets are open 24 hours a day. That allows us as regular traders and investors to trade any time of day. We dictate that time, and that's what a lot of people are looking for is more of that freedom of time. So whether you have a job and you want to have more time with the family and maybe dialing back from that, hopefully there's a strategy for you to be able to do that with the market. And we'll introduce you to two different strategies and techniques in these investing classes. For those of you that did get set up in the last segment there, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you. For those of you that missed it, make sure to text in the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. It's only 2 hours of your time, and that could potentially change your life. Text the word investing to the number 210. We'll get you a text back right away. That will bring you to our landing page so you can pick your own date. We do these during the week. We also have these on the weekends, so pretty much anybody can attend. It just takes 2 hours of your time. And is it worth it for you? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, in this segment here, we want to get into more topics about multi-directional trading and investing, but more in retirement accounts because it's obvious retirement accounts haven't done anything for the last, 2 years or so. They're actually down.
They're down.
So people are struggling to retire. Their outlook has changed now. They're saying, I may have to work a little bit longer, honey. Or, hey, honey, you're going to have to work longer now because we don't have enough to stay retired because it's gotten so much more expensive to live. That being said, with the market as of right now from the highs, it's down about, looks like my math here, about 15%, give or take, based on when you listen to the show here. That's based off the S&P 500, which is a good overall gauge of the markets. It's the S&P 500. Now, if you have plans to retire, you can't afford for the market to continue to go down or even go sideways. I mean, since May of 2021, the market is exactly where it was at in May of 2021, over 2 years now. So if you don't have any returns, what are you going to do differently? Now, Al, there are strategies to use the markets to continue an income strategy during retirement time. You mentioned options a little bit earlier. Without going into the weeds about options, which we'll talk about more in the investing class that people are texting into, how can people use different assets with their overall bucket of money, we'll call it the retirement account, to have the opportunity to continue to build that at any time?
Well, not only do we talk about what those assets are, but we talk about why it's so important for you to be able to use those assets that basically Wall Street is not talking to you about. If you look at what your portfolio basically is, whether it's your retirement portfolio or a regular investment portfolio, the majority of you are in what we call a buy and hold strategy. That's a long-term strategy. Wall Street will tell you, you're in this for the long term. Don't worry about corrections or crashes. We talk about this every week. You're in it for the long term. Don't worry about it. And the problem is that you're only going to benefit if the market goes in one direction, and that's up. But it's not an income type strategy. If you
Now,
need,
think about that for a second. I just want to interrupt you because I think it's important for people to realize this. Everybody knows those terms and those phrases that you were saying. Everybody was probably reciting them with you.
sure.
Everybody has been conditioned all their life to do that. And if Wall Street's always profiting and making billions and trillions of dollars and the public isn't, okay, now we need to figure out why.
Yeah, obviously there's a difference. If we look at Wall Street, if you look at the pros and their returns on an annual basis compared to retail traders, so the public, there's a significant difference there, and people want to know why, and they're upset about that. One of the reasons is that you're using the wrong strategies, you're using the wrong assets, the wrong strategies. Wall Street basically puts everybody in a long-term portfolio and then tells you to hold on to it. Think about that for a minute.
Hold on one second. Just to clarify on Wall Street, that could be your brokers, your advisors,
Right.
people on TV. That's the big money, and
Mm-hmm.
conditioning people. So that could be anybody.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So think about this from a business standpoint. They put you put a portfolio together, whether they help you or whether you do it on your own, and then you're just supposed to hold on to it for 10 or 20 or 30 years. What a great business model for them. They charge you for that. There's fees coming out of it, but they're really doing very little, if any work at all. This is maybe the time for you to take control. Here's a question for you. If you're close to retirement, ask yourself this question: are you ready? And if you're not ready, what are you going to do? Are you set to maybe live another 20 or 30 years in retirement without income from your job, without significantly cutting down on your lifestyle, or maybe having to go back to work or just relying on Social Security?
Well, hey, think about this. So you just mentioned, are people ready? I bet a lot of people are saying, "Well, I'll just work a little bit longer." But who wants to do that?
Correct. Is that how you want to end your life?
Yeah.
Is working instead of looking forward to maybe spending more time with your family or just whatever you want to do? Doesn't have to be with your family if you don't want to do that. But maybe you got kids or grandkids or great grandkids you want to spend some time with. Maybe you just want to go fishing or play golf. I talked to a potential student the other day. He's coming to one of our next classes, and his goal is to move to Hawaii and just
There you
trade.
go.
He just wants to trade. He wants to spend most of his time on the beach. That's fantastic.
And that's the
his
beginning
goal.
stages of his plan, right?
That's his plan. And and everybody, there is a best path for every one of you listening, and it may be different than everybody else's path, but there is a best path. That's one of the things we do, and we've been doing for 26 years. We help you identify how you get to what your end result wants to be. And if you're not there now, maybe you have to put a little more effort into it. Maybe you have to take more control, because what Wall Street has been helping you with hasn't worked. If you're in a 401k or 403b, you lost money in 2022. In 2021, when the S&P was up 20%, 57% of the 401ks were down 10% or more.
Amazing.
And maybe if you're lucky and you hold on to your 401k for 30 or 40 years, maybe you had an average annual return of 4 or 5%. But every time there was a correction, every time the market crashed, 20, 30, 40, 50%, you wrote it down. Now your portfolio maybe has to spend 5 or 10 or 15 years just fighting to get back to where it was before you lost.
Yeah.
That's why people are in such dire straits in retirement. The other thing is inflation has had such an impact on us now. And when you go into retirement and your income from your job is gone, inflation has a much bigger impact. So one of the things you need to know, and that we really emphasize, is how to generate income. Whether you're still working, additional income, or when you're in retirement, use your retirement funds as an income generating vehicle instead of just pulling money out of it every time you need money for something. Generate income and then still grow it at the same time with protection. Those are the three components that we will talk to you about in these classes: protection, income, and growth of your retirement accounts.
Yeah, and there's strategies for all three of those based on where you're at now and then how long you need to use it for, right?
Correct.
And just kind of going back to what you were alluding to earlier, let's just say on an average, people were getting 4% over 40 years, like you said, which is probably pretty close. I mean, that's not even adjusted to inflation, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Now, if you're listening right now, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're at home, think about what you have in your retirement account. Maybe it's 100,000, 200, 500, 5 million, 10 million, whatever that number is, and put 4% on there. And say, okay, is that going to generate enough for me per year to continue to live 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40, 50 years for people? So if not, well, you're going to have have another strategy. And hopefully what we talk about here today has been inspiring you to look at different things. I mean, we've had a lot of people that are coming to these investing classes that have never traded before, never invested before, and they don't even know how it works. And they want to see what are those opportunities that are out there and how do you start to take advantage of those. So if you're brand new to the markets, that is okay. I would say, Al, the majority of the people that come to us have never traded or invested
Correct.
before, may have a 401k or IRA, but not currently doing it themselves. We also have been seeing, especially lately, especially the last few years here, people that have been trading sometimes 5, 10, 15 years and just haven't been consistent because the market just doesn't go up and they have a one-directional strategy, which is just buy and hope. Now, we're seeing a lot of them coming in because they want to have more consistency in their trading and especially their investing on their long-term portfolios, 401ks and their IRAs. But also, they want to be able to dictate when they retire. They don't want Social Security dictating that. They don't want the quote unquote age that you're supposed to retire at. What is it, Al? I think they're saying 67, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, that's you want to be able to do stuff before then. So if you have those goals or objectives, come to one of these investing classes and just check it out. You can text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. Text investing to the number 210 for this investing class, local at our academies. You get a text right back and a link to our page so you can make sure you pick the date that works best for you. Coming up next, we're going to talk about different strategies for income and wealth and hopefully inspire you to do things differently. We'll be right back.